Hello, my name is Prime, and welcome back to ETS2 Showcases, and today I'll be completing my first look at the brand new DAF XF Electric for ETS2. So just like the Renault E-Tech or the Scania battery electric vehicle, you can only use these trucks in ETS2 through the Quick Jobs feature or contracts within the game, as currently there is no charging infrastructure across the ETS2 map, and the lengths of the deliveries are capped at 350 kilometers. So in saying that, the best way to find the DAF XF Electric in the ETS2 is to first make sure you're looking at the Quick Job screen, navigate to the top left-hand corner and filter by brand, select DAF, and then start scrolling through the list, and you should be able to find eventually a truck that has a blue lightning bolt in the picture. And as you can tell by the definition that pops up, this is the DAF XF Electric Sleeper that has a powertrain outputting just over 400 horsepower equivalent. And as for today's delivery, we're going to be hauling some chemicals from here in Frankfurt down to Strasbourg today. So without further ado, let's get this brand new DAF XF Electric started up and get on the road. You know, in some ways, I find this highly enjoyable to rev an electric truck because you get that little electric motor whine, which I must appreciate that there actually is a bit of a, well, shall I say, throttle response when it's in neutral. So, hey, I'll take that for a win. All right, let's get rolling. Hopefully everyone's doing well. I certainly am, because we are here back in ETS2 with a brand new truck. You know what? Some people may not like electric trucks, and you have that right to your opinion, and you may feel that way. And to be honest with you, I'm not as big a fan of electric trucks in general, at least as of right now, mainly for the sound factor and, of course, the range and some of the other logistics parts. But that is another kind of rant and discussion for another day. But in this sense, though, here in ETS2, it's a brand new truck for the game. So I can't really complain. It's brand new free content as well that you can enjoy if you so choose to. So, a bit of a refresher, with electric trucks as it stands here in ETS2, they are only available via Quick Jobs. That is because there is no charging infrastructure within the maps themselves, and according to SEA software, it is not just a simple update the gas stations to allow them to charge the trucks. There's a bit more of a network that they need to do, and I guess there's other behind-the-scenes processes or in-game features that add a bit of a limiting factor, and they are working hard, apparently, according to the release blog post of this DAF XF Electric, to make sure that the charging infrastructure gets added to ETS2 so that these trucks, the XF here, the Scania battery electric vehicle, and the Renault E-Tech all become available for us to own. At least that is what the long-term plan seems to be. Now, hard on the brakes. I got to get used to some of the acceleration and braking of this electric vehicle because, well, there's not a whole lot of natural engine deceleration by the looks of it when I let off on the brakes. Actually, no, that's a bit of a lie. It was decelerating because it is going to be doing some regen as it goes. So disregard that one. I just didn't get it up to enough speed to be able to really notice it. But the brakes are definitely sensitive, at least according to my setup and how things are at. Anyways, it is within Quick Jobs. So the other thing is that if you have just updated your ETS2 game and are trying to find this DAF XF Electric, you may not find it right away because this update does not reset the in-game economy, and the Quick Job network may take some time to develop new contracts using this truck. So just keep that in mind as you're navigating your ETS2 contract list in Quick Jobs. You may not find exactly what you want, and it is really not happy as we go across the tracks here, mainly because I was indicating and there was a vehicle on the inside by the looks of it. And we're gonna make an exit here and get on the motorway and get going. Let's do some acceleration up the hill. Oh, it's actually bogging. It's bogging down here. This is a 4x2 chassis. Just over, well, 400-ish horsepower equivalent, so to speak. It uses PACCAR's new electric drivetrain, which, if I am correct, could be a very similar drivetrain to the North American versions of the electric trucks that obviously are not in American Truck Simulator yet, but are in development under the PACCAR group. So that would be Peterbilt and or Kenworth. As far as I know, the same technology can be used across between Europe and North America, obviously with probably varying capacities and so on, but the underlying technology has been kind of developed for both, as far as I know. Again, I could be wrong on that. Feel free to comment down below and correct me. I am always open to hearing some extra technical details. I always enjoy hearing your feedback on that one. Anyways, this drivetrain is honestly quite powerful, but I would say this truck is mainly used for, especially moving forward, I would say used for more of the city shuttling deliveries more than the long hauls. I feel like that is more of a obvious statement to make, but I think it's a fair one to make as well, especially here in ETS2. The quick jobs are limited to 350 kilometers, so you are not going to be going crazy far. You will be... Oh, we gotta make an exit here! I forgot about how these clover leaks work here in Europe. They have the extra escape roads, which are very smart, by the way, and may I say, great handling, okay? I may not be a huge fan of electric trucks, at least transport trucks for that matter, mainly, again, because of sound and just some of the driving dynamics, besides, you know, range anxiety stuff with charging, although we don't have that issue here in ETS2, but just in general, I like to hear a bit of more of an engine. I'm a little bit more old school like that. Even still, great handling, can't deny that. And you know what, I think acceleration wise, it's actually not as ironic as this sounds, as torquey as some of the other ones in the game. So what's really becoming interesting now, and at least to me, with now having a few electric vehicles in ETS2, we're now starting to see the difference between the manufacturers in how performance handles, which is actually really neat to see. So the DAF, at least according to what I'm experiencing right now, is a fairly smooth powertrain. Really isn't too heavy on the response, at least on the throttle. And again, for my setup and so on, I haven't changed settings between when I've done the electric or the other electric vehicles here in ETS2. I haven't actually adjusted any form of sensitivity on braking, acceleration, steering, anything like that for a long time here in ETS2 and ATS respectively. So I can say confidently that the powertrains are feeling quite different. Now we'll have to see when reversing the trailer at our delivery point how the low speed torque is, because if I am correct, this is a technically kind of 3-stage or 3-speed transmission-ish in this truck, however you want to call it, like an E-transmission thing. It's technically got like kind of 3 stages or 3 speeds to it. So generally speaking, the lower speed torque really shines through of the electric motor. On the higher end, it can kind of bog down in certain situations. And then obviously cruising, it is extremely quiet with just road noise. So for you, maybe that's a little bit annoying because you just have me to listen to. Now, I do appreciate everyone who enjoys listening to me and watching me play these videos or play these games in general, but watching these videos and listening to me try and commentate and in fact try and make a sentence about watching them, which is sometimes a bit of a challenge, but that's neither here nor there. It's very quiet, and that is honestly kind of nice. And that is the one thing, I know it's kind of a give and take. I love to hear the engine, and I'm more old school like that. But I also don't mind the fact that, especially on more of a highway cruise, or if you're just around, you know, in a city and stuff like that, and you're just starting and stopping, the quietness and just road noise, although is different, I don't honestly mind it that much. So say what you want about my opinion about these trucks and the fact that I like the noise, but I also can get annoyed at the noise. You know what? It's never a perfect world, and I am not perfect, and neither are my opinions. So they are opinions for that matter. There's no right or wrong for anyone. It's just your point of view. But yeah, it's different to say the least. But I really like how this DAF is driving. Long story short, I think it is really quite neat. And again, comparing to the Scania, comparing to the Renault E-Tech, they are handling quite different. And just in general how they are operating in the game. I like that there is, at least in my view, once again, a bit of a unique handling situation. I talked about it with the Scania as well. Oh my word, I guess air brakes are going nuts around this corner. I don't know why. Maybe it's just part of the deceleration and regen. Not quite sure. It's all right. About 50% power here. 100% power by the handy dandy display on the dash. It really, again, when you're rolling, doesn't have a ton of pickup. It's not bad. And again, transports normally, or larger trucks here, we don't normally have a ton of high-end acceleration anyways, but it's not picking up a ton of speed, and full throttle up a hill, losing speed. And just to confirm, we have about 40,000 pounds of chemical, or hot chemical specifically, behind us, plus in trailer. So it's not light, to say the least, but it's also not the heaviest delivery overall. And again, I feel like these trucks, especially this DAF being a 4x2 drivetrain, I feel like it is very much made for more of a oops, sorry, hit my mouse a little bit. It's very much made for more of a city shuttle, or again, close range movements, and maybe honestly lower speed, kind of maneuverability and different logistics, instead of these longer hauls or highway cruising speeds. Now, albeit I am massively speeding, but again, I am Prime Simulation, and what else do you expect from me? But again, I feel like maybe this delivery isn't fully representative of what this particular truck would be in real life, but at the same time, it is well within its means, because it can go, well, this delivery is I believe about 240 kilometers or something like that. So we're still about 100 kilometers shy of the in-game limit for the battery consumption and distance in general. So, I mean, unless if I had to take a massive detour, which I doubt would occur, especially on the quick job, and with driving this truck, the detours are a little bit less likely, I do believe. But even still, if you were to just try and venture out and around, and you did run out of power, because you can technically do that, there is a emergency recharging service, which you can do when you're checking the service. Little pop-up menu, you can check it if you're having to call tow or whatever. There's a recharge option for a fee, and I guess a mobile charger will come out and charge up the truck a little bit to get you to your destination. I'm guessing that's how that one works, because it can't take you to a service center nor a gas station, because there's no in-game charging for that. So say what you will with that. Speaking about the in-game charging network, as I mentioned briefly earlier, SCA Software seems to be still working on trying to bring a charging network across ETS2, which would be fantastic, because at least then we'd be able to own and customize these trucks. And to be honest with you, maybe the reason why I don't do more of these deliveries with these electric trucks being, well, especially this DAF, obviously this is the first look, but the Scania and Renault that are already in the game, I think probably the reason why I don't do it more is just because there's no customization, and the fact that it's a quick job. There's just no customization, and I can't own the truck, and I feel like a lot of especially the showcase and so on, a lot of that, the whole series is all about customizing the trucks, showcasing something new for the game, or just showcasing a different delivery or something in that line. And the fact that we can't customize them, and they are just existing in the quick job menu, we just kind of show up in our, I guess, supposed regular vehicle and hop in the truck and drive it from point A to point B, it does lose a little bit of that attraction, at least for me. So having a charging network and then subsequently being able to own this truck and drive it around and customize it, hopefully in the future, is something that I'm actually very much looking forward to. again, it's just a matter of time when that actually comes into ETS2. I'd love to see it earlier than later, and we've got to get to the other lane here. We don't need another last-minute handling test. I'd love to see it sooner than later, and probably a lot of you would as well, because honestly, that would be a huge thing for the game, and also open up even more opportunity for other electric things in general, especially over here in ETS2. Electric vehicles, I feel like just even culturally, have taken on a lot more than in North America. That may be a hot take. That's, again, just my opinion. I feel like, in general, Europe culture has just kind of taken on electrification in vehicles a lot stronger, and honestly done it a lot better than in North America. And so I feel like, especially here in ETS2, that could really open up some cool opportunities. And I think that's what SES Software is really going for. So I'm excited to see that eventually come in. Again, when? Do not know. Hopefully sooner than later. But in the meantime, we've got the quick jobs. And admittedly, I probably should drive more of the electric trucks. They are interesting to drive. Having such silence all the time, although I may not be a huge fan of it, is unique and different and not a bad thing at the end of the day. In the same sense, you know what, it is kind of nice. Oh man alive, all the different sensors are not happy. It's one of those things that it's all personal opinion. I know some of you really enjoy the electric trucks and probably drive them quite a bit. I've heard some that really like using them, but I know a lot of players of ETS2 like the ownable trucks. They like to be able to customize their trucks, and that's just, again, something simply cannot do here right now. And I'll have to do more of them. I really will, but there's so many other well, basically things on the list for the content here in ETS2 specifically, because admittedly I don't do as many videos here on ETS2, at least more historically. I don't do as much as I should. So there's a lot of content to cover. It's just a matter of getting to do it, and especially we have a lot of new content coming out for ETS2. It automatically adds to the list of things to cover, and while this truck honestly being one of them, I was planning something else for this video, and well, now we are here. I like surprises. I can't complain. But at the same time, delays some of the other things I want to cover. And generally speaking, I want to do stuff that I enjoy, you know, driving. I want to enjoy the game overall, and of course I do. But in some sense, these electric vehicles, I guess, again, because my kind of opinion on electric vehicles in general, I'm not as big a fan of them. So it's a little bit maybe harder for me to just come in to say, oh, what I want to do today, and oh, let's just drive an electric truck around. Maybe it just doesn't have the same appeal. Again, probably mainly because it's not ownable. I'm hoping that changes in the future, and I'm sure it will, because as time evolves, I will evolve, and things will go from there. But let's check some low-speed torque here when trying to reverse, because that was something I really noticed with the other electric trucks. I believe specifically the Renault was extremely torquey in reverse, so the reverse gear at low speeds was absolutely insane. I think the Scania was a bit smoother, and in this DAF, honestly, very close to the Scania in terms of how it's driving, from, if my memory serves me correctly. But I think it may actually be more smooth even on the acceleration, and on my very short wheelbase on this trailer and truck. So this thing turns on a dime. Now I must say, torquey, but a lot more drivable and maneuverable, I would say, than some of the others. And of course, this is nowhere close to being straight because, well, I'm prime. So let's just move this forward a little bit. You know what? We'll take that. It's not great. And I could have actually just pulled completely forward because it's all clear. But when have I ever prepared for a delivery well? It's only been probably a handful. And today was not one of them. Either way, I would say overall, this DAF XF Electric is probably the top electric truck in ETS2. I'm just going to throw that out there. Out of the three that we've had so far, in my personal view on the driving characteristics of it, I would say this is the smoothest. The Scania is probably a higher quality truck, no offense, DAF, but I would say it's got more of the fit and finish of Scania. Well, let's say stereotypical finishes of the truck is it's smooth and it's got the power delivery. This has the power delivery as well, especially on the lower end. And then unfortunately, I think the Renault E-Tech is probably a little bit lower just in terms of handling. For me, especially that reverse gear, if I remember correctly, was absolutely insane. It flung me around all over the place. Comment down below what you think about this DAF XF Electric, if you've given it a chance already. And if you haven't, comment down below what you think about this video overall and your first impressions of it based off of my first impressions of this truck. I'd be interested to know your thoughts. And of course, while you're down there as well, comment down below if you want to see anything else here on ETS2, or hop into the community Discord and put in some recommendations there, and of course show off your trucks and maybe this DAF XF Electric as well. Go ahead and hop in if you're not already a member of that Discord. The community is growing and it's great to see the interaction there. Lots of fun things to enjoy and chat about in that server. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.